Hey YouTube, Jacob Patric here. Just wanted to answer another frequently asked question. So some of our Posy Mom customers are asking about how to make a Scoby hotel. Now, why would you want to make a Scoby hotel? Basically, as a kombucha tea Scoby continues to grow batch after batch, the more tea you brew, that Scoby is going to get thicker and thicker. And really what it's doing is it's adding new layers to itself as it grows. I've seen online how some people compare the layers of a Scoby to the rings of a tree, which is a pretty good analogy. Now, sometimes bunches of those layers will split apart on their own, making a mother Scoby and a daughter or child Scoby. Sometimes you have to give it a little help and help pull apart individual layers of the Scoby. Well, maybe not individual layers, but bunches of layers. So what's going to happen over time is you're going to end up with a whole bunch of different Scobies. They will multiply as you continue to brew kombucha tea. There are people running and dogs in the background. That's pretty cool. So what do you do with those extra Scobies? Well, you can give them away to friends, which is a great idea. If you're just super fanatic about kombucha tea, you could brew multiple jars at a time, one Scoby for each jar. But maybe neither of those options sound really good for you, and that's why a Scoby hotel is such a great idea. It allows you to store extra Scobies in sort of a hibernation mode. So they're not actively brewing, they're not actively growing, but they're sort of left in standby for whenever you need them. So how do you do this? It's very simple. Get a large jar, maybe a gallon jar or half-gallon jar, and take any extra Scobies you have and put them in the bottom of that jar. Now add already fermented kombucha tea to the jar. You don't have to fill the jar, that's completely unnecessary. You simply have to add enough tea to completely cover the Scobies that you have inside the jar. Now you can simply cover the Scobies with cloth or with perhaps a plastic lid. Remember, no metal, even on the lid. And then leave that jar in the back of your cupboard somewhere. Now you don't have to change the fluids out in your Scoby hotel very often, maybe every 2 to 3 weeks, and that keeps the Scobies nice and fresh. Now, one issue that happens with kombucha from time to time is mold. As we've said on this channel before, in the majority of cases where someone thinks they have mold in their kombucha tea, it's not actually mold, but mold still can happen. Or sometimes the culture just seems to destabilize. Some contaminant gets into the tea by accident, and the Scoby just starts to get mushy and jelly-like. Of course, at Posy Mom HQ, we grow hundreds of Scobies every single week, and contamination does happen. We have usually a handful of Scobies that we throw out every single week through our rigorous quality checking process before sending Scobies to customers. So it is possible that your culture can destabilize or grow mold for whatever reason. That's why it can be handy to have some extra Scobies on call, so to speak, in the hotel. If you discover mold in your primary Scoby, the one that you're currently using to brew, you can simply throw it out and use one of the Scobies from your hotel. So I hope this answers a lot of your questions, and I hope this tip can help you to become truly a probiotic pro.